Why is it that you could be studying for 6 hours a day and you're getting less marks than someone else who's studying for only 2 hours a day? That's because they're making use of something called a study equation. And once you understand what this equation holds, it will change the way that you study forever. The study equation is a framework for measuring how proficient you are in a certain subject. The equation is as follows. Your proficiency level in that subject is equal to the time spent in hours per day that you revise for that subject, multiplied by a focus level or concentration level, basically how locked in you are during your studying or your revision, multiplied by the study techniques that you use within that study session, multiplied by the natural talent and sort of giftedness that you have pertaining to that subject. Each component is rated on a scale of 1 to 10, which means that your proficiency level for a certain subject can range all the way from 1 to 10,000. Bear in mind, it can go to like 0 and 11, it can be anything, but just 1 to 10 is a nice boundaries in order to see where you're at, because if you go anywhere else it's not going to be like a clean number. Time spent in hours, that's a quantitative number, but everything else is qualitative, so it's a measurement that you will have to make for yourself. For example, how focused are you, how much time, how well are your study techniques, what's your natural talent for this subject. Here's a breakdown on each of the terms and what they mean within the study equation. So your time spent, as I said before, is the number of hours of day that you study for that subject. Your focus level is how concentrated and distraction free your study sessions are. For example, if I'm studying properly, no distractions with me for 2 hours, that would be better than me studying for 6 hours and 4 of those hours I'm on scrolling on TikTok because I'm very distracted. So the way that you study and how focused you are determines how well your study session is going to be. Your study techniques are the effectiveness of the methods that you use within the study session. So for example, everybody's favorites, active recall, spaced repetition, there's also Pomodoro technique. So the way that you use your study sessions affects how well you're going to do in your exams as well. So for example, someone who may just be writing out the same notes over and over again, they're going to get less marks than someone who's incorporating the study techniques that I said before. And finally, natural talent, which I think is the hardest to grasp. It's your innate ability to grasp and adapt to new information in regards to a certain subject. Now, here's the caveat. Nobody is like a 8, 9 or 10. Those are like reserved for the special people. So like Isaac Newton, Stephen Hawking, those people. Whereas most of us are around about a 5 or a 6. You can think of it as sort of an alternative for your IQ. You can think of it like that. That's a general representation. If you want to go more specifically into certain subjects like maths, English, your natural talent from each of those may vary from subject to subject. But around about 5 or 6 is where most people are going to be. And of course you can go into decimals as well. Now I want to give you some insights as to why this study equation is actually so powerful and how you can use it in your revision. And that's the way that I used it in my revision as well. So first things first, you notice that everything multiplies together, which means it's not additive. So all the techniques and the core concepts are not linear, they're exponential. So everything that you do, everything that you stack on top of each other, it compounds. So you're going to be so much more better off than someone else who does not do these things at all. It's not like a straight line graph, it's a curved graph if you remember what you're doing in maths. Improving any one of those factors has a bigger impact than you would think on your overall proficiency in that subject. So even small upgrades in your focus or your study techniques can have a massive impact later down the line when all of these factors are working together. Secondly, it literally shows you that hard work can beat talent when you apply yourself. So for example, someone who has a natural talent of around about 6, so average, they will completely outperform someone who may even have a very high natural talent of 8 in a certain subject if they don't spend enough hours. Let me give you an example. So let's say someone spends 2 hours a day revising for a subject and they have a natural talent level of 6. They spend 2 hours a day and however their concentration and the study techniques that they incorporate are so good, they're going to be both like around about 8. So that's going to be 2 times 8 times 8 times 6. Which is, let me research that, give me a second. So that's going to be 2 times 8 times 8 times 6. So they will have a proficiency level of, in that subject, 768. Now, let's say that a person who's gifted in that subject has a proficiency level of 8, but they don't really do any revision at all. They do like half an hour a day, even that. Let's say, so that's going to be 0.5. So 0.5 times by, and let's say even in that half an hour they don't do anything at all. So 0.5 times by 2 times 3 times 8. That's just going to be 24. So you can see the other person is completely outperforming the person who's gifted, because even if the person is gifted, they're not going to be able to do better over a long period of time than the other person, because they're just working so much more harder and more focused. This, and we'll see the effect more greater in subjects that are more difficult and in exam boards and curriculums that are more difficult. For simpler exam boards, you won't be able to see the subject because you can just get it off by like winging the exam. But for like A levels and uni level, this will definitely come into play. The more focused you are and the more well off your study techniques are, those will come into play rather than your natural innate ability to do well in that subject. This equation emphasizes putting consistent intentional effort every single day into your study sessions over raw innate ability. Another reason why this equation is so powerful is because it allows you to reflect and recalibrate if you're falling off. So if you're doing like bad in an exam, you can write this out for your certain subject and you can see which number is going a little bit down. What number can I improve on? And what you can do, you can bump up all of these markers, and then after a while you'll be able to see your results climb back up again. So if you're doing like a little bit worse in a certain subject, you can write this equation and you can see where your weak points are and you can fix those pain points in order to improve. And that's what I did as well. Every couple of weeks or so, I wouldn't write it down, I would just do it in my head. I would just be like, okay, I'm not doing as well as I would do in this subject. Why is that? I'll just list them out. Okay, I could be focusing more. And you have to be honest with yourself. If you're not honest with yourself, there's no point in doing this. That's how I was able to come back and do better and stronger in the later exams, even if I did worse in earlier exams. In addition, this study equation allows you to have like a gamified mindset, because especially it's to do with numbers and it's to do with like leveling up. So you can think of the habits that you use within your studying as like your game stats. So you want to level up on the areas that you're weaker on in order to boost up your overall character. This can make the process more engaging, because like if you're trying to make the numbers go up, then it's like you want to make everything perfect in order to get the best result possible. And what it actually does is it provides something for you to actually focus on, instead of it being like, okay, I have no idea why I'm doing bad, I don't even know what to improve on. This gives you the pathway for you to know what to improve on, so then all you have to do is just bump the numbers up and then you're going to be better. You're going to do better in your next exam. So that's the study equation. Hopefully that helped you guys out. This is literally something that I would do once every couple of weeks. I would just like think to myself, it was not really about knowing your proficiency level. Your proficiency level is a good thing to know, but it's not going to be exact. It's a rough estimation. It's not an exact, like if I'm one level higher than somebody else, then I'm going to do better. It might be the case, but most likely it's going to vary. It's an estimation, it's not an exact value. It's to help give you like a pathway for you to think about what can I do next in order to better my studying and in order to get better grades. So there are two variables within that study equation: the amount of time that you spend and your natural talent. The natural talent you can't vary at all, because that's just something that you're born with, and your time spent you can just grind in order to increase your time. But the other two, your focus level and your concentration level and your study techniques, those are two things you're going to have to fine tune by researching and improving on, by stacking on like other methods on top of each other. However, if you want to be able to get rid of all of that like headache, then subscribe to this channel, because I'll be posting videos on how to improve your concentration and how to improve your study techniques. So yeah, make sure you subscribe for that. And comment and ring the notification bell, because that'll give me an idea that you'll want to see more. But apart from that, I hope you had a good time. Until then, take care, peace.